Hey, good afternoon. What a glorious day. It's mid-December. We're expecting a huge snowstorm later this week. It's going to get freezing tomorrow, but for today, it's perfect. And we are so excited because we have so many beautiful Chanukah events. We had the Maccabees live concert yesterday on Zoom. We had 200 screens join us besides Facebook, and we had the Chanukah boxes on Friday, and we had the paint night and the chocolate dreidel night, all virtual. But there's one event that we were doing in person, except services yesterday and today, which was at the square, which is outdoors, and we could social distance and have masks. We wanted to have one public menorah lighting. We felt it was important to celebrate one thing in person, and we chose today, and we're doing it at 3 o'clock at the square near Sweet Greens, and it turns out it's going to be 60 degrees and hopefully some sun left at 3 p.m. So if you're able to join us, it won't be like every year. There'll just be some music, not live, but there'll be music, and there'll be some prepackaged goodies and some chocolate gelt for the kids, and we'll climb up and we'll light the menorah, and we'll say a little thought, and we'll sing the songs, but it'll be something that says a statement that we are committed to the light, that we are committed to overcoming the darkness. But now I want to tell you a Torah thought. As we celebrate this beautiful day and sit here in the gorgeous weather, you can see the trees are bare, but the weather is spring or fall-like. So, the biggest celebration of Chanukah, of course, is the jug of olive oil that was found with the seal of the high priest, which was only supposed to last 1 day, and it lasted 8 days. They had to search all over because everything was violated by the Greeks, and every single one of the jugs were broken from the seal of the Kohen Gadol, which made them pure. And they found one, and we celebrate that miracle for 8 days. And that's what we focus on. Everything about Chanukah, the latkes is oil, and the menorah is oil, and the Haneret Halalu is about oil. And the question is, why don't we celebrate the military victory? I mean, if you think about it, the greatest victory was that the Jewish people and their little band of Hashmonaim were able to overcome the Greeks and their mighty army with hundreds and thousands of soldiers with special gear and etc., etc. But yet we don't celebrate that. And the question is why? And the answer the rabbis give is because the great rabbis of the Talmud realized something very important. That the military victory, although being so great and so miraculous, won't last forever. In fact, it didn't last forever. Only less than 200 years later, the Romans expelled us from the Holy Temple, which we've never been back to and has never been rebuilt yet. So the rabbis, in their infinite wisdom, realized at that moment that the military victory, although great, is not something that will last forever. And physical might and power comes and goes. But the victory of the oil, the power of that little jug of oil, which was supposed to last for 1 day, which lasted for 8 days, which represents the spiritual side of the teachings of the Torah, the ideas of the Torah, the warmth, the light, the joy, the love that Judaism represents, that is not a physical thing, it's more of a spiritual thing, of a soul thing. That they knew could last forever. And boy, were they right. Because where are the Greeks today? Where are the Romans today? Where are all those who persecuted us today with their great might? Where's Hitler today? They're all gone into the dustbins of history. But the Jewish people continue to live, continue to thrive. The ideas of Judaism, the love, the joy, the warmth, the spiritual side, the intellectual side, that continues greater than ever. You go into the streets of New York, of Boston, Chicago, of Israel, of Australia, of Paris, of London. And wherever you go, there are Jews celebrating those ideas. And that's why the rabbis say when we celebrate and we make focus on this victory, which was, yes, military victory, let's focus on the spiritual side, on that one jug of oil that was found. And let that be the ideas that we share. Let that be what we celebrate, because that could never be taken away from us. And I have one of my favorite Chanukah stories that I want to share with you. And it's a very moving story with a powerful message. It's a story about Rabbi Moshe Brisky, who's the Chabad rabbi in the Caneo Valley. And he says the story about one Friday night, he was at his home. He had just moved in only a little bit before, and they were celebrating Shabbos, and he saw a moving truck pull up next door to one of the apartments there. And he sees someone get out, and he says, "Hello, how are you?" And sure enough, he figures out that this guy is Jewish. So he's there with his little daughter, and he says, "Why don't you guys, while they unpack your place, why don't you come over to my place, celebrate Shabbos dinner with us in true Chabad style?" He extended his hand to him, and then you'll go home, and they'll be unpacked for you, and you'll be able to get a good rest, a night of sleep after a delicious meal, and songs, and camaraderie, and friendship, etc. So the guy agrees, of course, why not? So he comes, and he has the most delightful Shabbos. He loves it, and of course, slowly, as would be the case, he got involved with the Chabad. He went to courses, he came to holiday events. And one time, Rabbi Brisky was giving a course on why good things happen to bad people. And when he gave this course, he realized that this young man was was very moved and was crying and was very emotional. And after the class, he called him to the side. He said, "Tell me, what's going on? Why is this taking you so strongly? Has something happened to you?" He hadn't known enough about his family and his story. And the guy says, "Let me tell you, let me explain to you what happened. I was married. We had 3 beautiful kids. And we were in a terrible, tragic accident. And 2 of my children got killed in the accident. It was devastating. It was a terrible blow to our family. And unfortunately, our marriage couldn't withstand it. And after a little while, I got divorced from my wife. And here I was, a father alone, raising his child. And I couldn't take it. The depression, the trauma, everything that came with losing 2 children in such a tragic way got to me. And I decided to take my life. I decided that it wasn't worth it to live anymore, and I wanted to die. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to kill myself tomorrow. I'm going to take my life." The night before was the last night I was going to be with my daughter. She was with me then. We took turns between me and my ex-wife. And I said, let me do something special with my daughter. And I said, you know what? I'm going to take her to watch a movie in the theater, and we'll have a great night together. I want her last memories with her father to be positive. And I take her, and I come to the mall, and I'm about to go into the movie theater, and lo and behold, there are a bunch of Chabadniks dancing in a circle, lighting a menorah, giving out latkes, giving out menorahs. They pull me into the circle with my daughter. They dance with me. They give her dreidel and chocolate gelt, and they give her latkes and all these delicious things, and we end up chatting, and then we go in to watch the movie. And I think to myself, this must be a sign from God. How could it be that out of the one night that I was about to take my life, these rabbis with so much joy and warmth and light come and pull me into the circle and make me dance with them and give me so much hope and so much warmth? And I started rethinking and contemplating if I should take my life or not. And I decided I'm not going to do it. The next day comes, and I decided I'm not going to take my life. Then I said to myself, you know what, let me give myself one more chance to rebuild my life. And maybe I need to be in a new house, not in the house that I was with the other children who tragically got killed. And I decided to go 50 miles away to Caneo Valley and to rent a house. And I said, God, please send me a sign that there's future, that there's hope for me to start a new life. And the first day, as I move, the first moments I come out, and lo and behold, there you are, with your warmth and with your love, inviting me for Shabbos, giving me delicious challah and gefilte fish and salads and chicken soup with matzah balls and chicken and so much songs and so much love. At that moment, I knew that was a sign from God that I could rebuild my life, that there was hope for me and for my daughter to find some comfort, to find some hope. And that's my story, he says. And Rabbi Brisky looks at him with tears in his eyes now. And he says, wait a minute. And he runs to his closet and he starts searching through albums, one after the other. And then he finds one album, and there in the album is that guy dancing with his daughter, with Rabbi Brisky. He says, I was that rabbi that pulled you into the circle. I was that rabbi that you danced with that night. Here's the picture. But let me tell you the other side of the story. I had just moved to Caneo Valley, and it was the first Chanukah, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know anyone, but I did know that the Lubavitch Rebbe asked us to spread the warmth, the light, the joy, the love of Chanukah out in the streets, out in the public, with whoever we can. The idea of the victory over the few, over the mighty, of hope over darkness, light over darkness. And I said, you know what? I called the phone 411. I said, give me one of the malls, any of the malls. I want to have a number to a mall. And they gave me a number to a mall. And I called the mall and I said, could I make a Hanukkah lighting in your mall? And they said, you sure you want to make a Hanukkah lighting in our mall? I said, yes. They said, you sure? I said, absolutely. Anyways, that night I come up, and little do I know, I realized why they said, are you sure you want to make a lighting here? I come to this mall, and 85% of the mall is already vacant. It's a mall that's going into foreclosure. It's closing down. It's deserted. And I felt like such a loser, such an idiot. I didn't do my research. I didn't do anything. Here I am in a place where all the stores are closed except the theater practically. And what am I going to do? But I said, listen, you got to believe in divine providence. The Rebbe sent me here for a mission. Hashem had it in particular that I should be here. So I set up the menorah, a little dejected, and I brought around all the stuff, and I started dancing. And that's when I met you that night going into the theater. And here I am years later. And now I understood why Hashem sent me to that mall. Now I understood why Hashem wanted me to just call 401 without doing research and to dance in an empty mall without anyone there. And to meet you and your daughter so I could save your life and I could give you new hope and new beginnings. That's the greatest Hanukkah story, the greatest miracle. I think of this story because I think about us celebrating the oil, the light, the warmth over celebrating the victory of an army, a physical army. That message is so powerful and it resonates with me so much because it ever put so much emphasis in going out to the public and lighting menorahs and making music and giving out latkes and menorahs. And sometimes you think, how much? Enough already. Why don't we just sit at home and give a class? But the Rebbe said, no, you got to get out there into the dark streets and spread that love, spread that warmth, spread that light of the menorah, the spiritual light of joy, of love. And that's what we'll be doing today at 3 o'clock. So if you're around, the weather's beautiful, join us at the Chesterfield Square with a mask and be safe and social distance. And you'll hear a few words, we'll light the menorah, we'll sing a few songs, and we'll celebrate the victory of light over darkness. Chag Sameach and Happy Hanukkah.